Hello and welcome to the Storytelling for the Soul podcast. I'm your host, Sarah Kanata, and this is the place we talk about all things expressive writing and other creative techniques, all with a little bit of Buffy the Vampire Slayer thrown in. Buckle up and enjoy. Hello, welcome back to another episode of the Storytelling for the Soul podcast. I hope whenever you are listening to this, you are doing well. Today, I'd like to talk about the importance of language. So in the work that I do, embodied journaling or embodied writing, it doesn't faze me what you want to call it. Obviously, we are using language and words. What I've noticed when working with clients is the way that we talk to ourselves is super important. Now, if we're marinating in thoughts that really aren't helping us to get to the next best step for us, obviously that's not really motivating us to make a change. Now, often what I find with the people that I work with, so women 35 plus, juggling a bunch of different things, whether they're juggling a career, as in a standard job and a business, and perhaps they've got kids, whether it's younger kids, teenage kids, whatever it may be. Elderly parents as well. A lot can be going on in our lives by the time we hit our mid-30s, because reality is, as we get older, life tends to become more complicated. But the thing is, most of the people that I talk to, and I'm definitely guilty of this as well, what I have become better at is raising awareness around it within myself so that I can do something about it. But most of the people that I work with, their inner critic is so incredibly brutal. And what I mean by that is that the way that they talk to themselves on a daily basis. Now, when I say that, what I'm talking about is the little voice inside your head. So the one that is constantly thinking, constantly analyzing, the one that often keeps you up at night and makes you think about what you said, what you didn't say. I could go on and on and on. That's not who you really are. In the line of Michael Singer's work, and there's a lot of people out there who are now trying to raise awareness about this, but you are the one who's aware of the voice inside your head. Now, this can be a little bit of a brain trip to get your mind around, but once you get it and you have the experience of sitting back and realizing that that voice in your head is constant and 24/7, you can see what I'm saying. So if this is making no sense to you at all as you listen, please just try to become a little bit more self-aware of the fact that pretty much on a 24/7 basis, we all have constant thoughts and we are constantly talking to ourselves, analyzing everything, analyzing the world that we perceive around us and so on. So how you talk to yourself is really important. If you are pretty much berating yourself on a 24/7 basis, think of yourself like a sponge, taking all of that negative energy and those negative thoughts about yourself on and walking through life with probably a negative perception about yourself. And a really good way that I've started to test some of the things that I've noticed I've become aware that I am telling myself is I give myself the friendship test. I ask myself, would I ever say this line to a friend of mine or a loved one if it's not a friend? And the answer all too often is no. Because at the end of the day, particularly I find with the women that I work with, we can be our harshest critics. Now, I want to give you a little bit of an example of the difference that language can make. And the first step in this is to become aware of it. So I've had many occasions in my life when I felt incredibly disappointed with myself. Perhaps I behaved in a certain way that wasn't great, that I didn't feel all that too proud of. But how we perceive that and how we internalize that and then go and talk to ourselves about it really makes a difference. So I want to I'm doing my best here to provide an example where I can show you how we are often shaming ourselves on a daily basis, and many of us pretty much every hour of the day. So let's say that I did something that I wasn't too proud of. I've acknowledged that it was a mistake. I know with every fiber in my body that if I had my time again, I wouldn't go ahead and do that same thing or act in that same way. So how I talk to myself, well, I could say I am a useless piece of worthless nothing. That would be something that in the past I have caught myself saying. So I could say I am, or I could be saying to myself, I did something that I wasn't very proud of. And I made myself feel worthless. Can you see the separation there? So in one example, I am making myself a certain way. I am giving myself an identity. And what I'm really doing is I'm shaming myself. And trust me, I've seen this through my embodied processing work on several occasions. Guilt is a normal human emotion. We can deal with many normal human emotions and work our way through them. But where people really suffer in this world is when they feel shame about anything. And often, the things that we feel shame about are experiences that others can share. So what I mean by that is someone may not have had the exact same experience as you, but if you were to go out there and share their story, I'm not saying you should do this, but if you were to go out there and share your story, you would find that people would relate with that. Shame is what stops us from moving forward. And the first part of anything in this work that I do, so quick explanation, I do not teach standard journaling or writing. I help my clients to write while feeling into the felt sense of the body. So as you're writing, it's not just a cerebral brain dump kind of exercise. You are feeling into what's going on in your body, accelerated heartbeat, butterflies in the tummy, a sense of unease. There could be so many different things. Everyone is super different, and it also depends on what we're focusing on and writing about. So in this work that I do, where I'm blending basically writing, embodiment, and then weaving that in with body-based practices to help us work with the nervous system so that we can process some of these really full-on sensations. So think fight, flight, freeze, fawn. I'm sure you've heard all those terms along the way. I'm not a nervous system expert. I am someone who is trauma-informed and understands enough. There are plenty of other experts on the nervous system out there who will do a far better job at explaining the intricacies of how it all works. But as I said, I am trauma-informed. I know how to work with these sensations, and I know the difference it makes to blend in the body-based work with the journaling. But at the core of all of this work is awareness. Because until we're aware of anything in our lives, we can't really change it. It's almost like most people are consistently stuck in going through the motions. And we all do this. I've been guilty of it myself. I'm still guilty of it, even though I do all this work, because at the end of the day, I'm human. When we are aware of something, that's when the shift can happen. Awareness is the first piece. And then once we become aware, we have a choice. Are we going to accept whatever it is the way it is, or are we going to do something about it? So, in case no one else has told you this today, please know that whatever your particular circumstances are, wherever you find yourself in life, I don't care, I'm going to tell you, you are worthy. You are deserving of a life that you want to be living, not a life that you feel like you should be living, a life you actually want to live. And I believe wholeheartedly that with the approach that I teach my clients, and it is very much a whole lifestyle thing, I never say to people, you're going to come and work with me and we'll do fortnightly sessions, you'll do nothing else in between and your whole life will change. Unfortunately, that's not how transformation occurs. But you have the ability and the power to create change in your life. So as a first starting point, I want you to critically analyze the way that you're talking to yourself on a daily basis. Now, a lot of that might just be happening with you without you actually realizing. But if you focus on this work, what you'll notice is you'll have pockets and seconds of moments where you notice that voice inside your head and it takes you aback and you'll say to yourself, oh, I never realized I spoke to myself that way. So what we're doing is we're working with those little moments and we're expanding on that so that you become more and more aware of how you are speaking to yourself on a daily basis. Language is important. Language can also be a barrier. I see this in the work that I do all the time, where people don't have the ability to express themselves because expressing themselves in the past hasn't felt like a safe thing to do. So in that case, what we do is we work with where they're at and we build and build and build on their ability to express. Language is super important in my books. I'm going to leave it there. If you would like to know more about embodied journaling or embodied writing and how I weave those in with other body-based approaches, you can go to my website, sarahkanata.com. Sarah is spelled S-A-R-A-H. Kanata is C-A-N-N-A-T-A. I would like to mention that at the time of recording this, which is the 8th of February 2025, my Soulful Steps program only has one more place left. The other two places or spots that I've opened up have been snapped up. So if you want to take advantage of the New Year offer, which is 50% off the standard price, so either one payment, and these are Australian dollars I'm talking about here, one payment of $750 or split into three payments of $250 for a 3-month program to work with me. We'll start wherever you're at. We can focus on a particular issue or challenge, or we can wing it and see where it takes us. But if that's something that interests you, feel free to check out the website, sarahkanata.com, or you are always very welcome to email me, info@sarahkanata.com. If you are interested in the 3-month program, I am very happy to jump on a 15-minute Zoom call to see if we align and work well together. That is super important in all the work that I do. If you're not quite ready to jump into a 3-month program, I also offer single sessions to give you a taste of this work. And if you just want to dip your toes in the water but don't really want to commit to anything, I also have a low-cost, gentle monthly subscription, $11, and each month I'll teach you some body-based approaches. Usually it's resourcing, which is basically a way to feel safe, grounded and supported in this work. It's the foundation of my work. But in that subscription, you'll also receive new journal prompts every month, as well as access to the catalogue of journal prompts for the rest of the year. I'm going to leave it there. I will chat with you next week.